You did a fantastic job in this, and I understand that you had just wrapped pretty much an emotional end of season of end of Republic
series,
of series, and then you're like jump right into this. Like, how did you even get calm?
I don't know. There was a guy who stopped me in the airport. I wrapped Doyle, Republic of Doyle, on Wednesday. I got on the plane on Thursday after the wrap party, flew to Winnipeg and started.
Wow!
And a guy stopped me in the Winnipeg airport and was like, didn't you just stop making your television show? And I was like, yeah. He was like, what's wrong with you? Where are you going? I'm going to do a movie. He was like a doctor or something. I could tell he was just so worried about my mental health.
Oh.
But I couldn't have had a better send-off because 6 seasons, when we decided to stop our series, and Paul had been there himself. He show ran Due South.
Yeah.
He's been a great friend of mine for many, many years, and he's the person who understands more than anybody about what I was kind of going through. It was the best thing. I didn't have to write the movie, produce the movie. I wasn't the lead. I didn't have to carry the movie on my shoulders. I got to come in to a really nice role that he had created for me that I was honored to play and be on his set and live in that world, and it was a total dream come true.
What was it like living in that world, Allan, and how much prep did you have to do to play a soldier?
Well, we did. Luckily, he had all that sort of organized for us because I didn't have time.
Yes.
Right? I was still, and I was in between. I finished shooting in the Winnipeg portion, then I had to do a media tour across the country for Doyle's final season, and I think I was doing some in some other movie in the middle. And so he luckily set up a great sort of infrastructure where we were training with these actual soldiers, training on the base. We were sleeping on the base. We were living as close to a soldier's life in our fictionalized context as possible, right?
Yeah.
And that really helped. And playing this character is so different from Doyle and so different from any other role I'd ever played before. Yeah. There were so many physical things that I could hook onto that helped me kind of go through it. And working with these amazing snipers and
yes,
really compassionate, thoughtful people who were there to make sure that we got it as close as we could to right.
Yeah.
And, very appreciative to them.
No, and you did. It was just brilliant. And, Paul Gross, like, man, I was telling him, I go, we're the same age. I don't know where you get that energy, man. Like, seriously, he does everything. He probably brings coffee to you guys, too.
Well,
almost, but, he does everything. How, just from your perspective as an actor, working with somebody like that, despite the fact that you are good friends, I get it, but still, he's a hard-working guy.
He's one of my heroes, yeah. He's always been like a... The minute I met him when I was in my early 20s. I did a play with his wife, Martha Burns, at Soul Pepper years and years and years ago. And we met. We immediately clicked. Martha and I clicked immediately, and then she was like, "You gotta spend some time with Paul."
Yeah.
And I owe it all to Martha. We clicked right away, and I told him the first day, I met him, that I wanted to create my own TV series, and I wanted to showrun it. And he was like, "Okay."
No problem.
And everybody else I talked to at that time was like, that's a stupid idea. There's no way that's going to happen. You're crazy. Paul was like, we need people like you. That's what he said. And he was the first person I pitched Republic of Doyle to 16 years ago. No, not 16 years ago. 15 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And, instead of someone telling me that was he's certainly critical, fiercely critical, which makes him such a brilliant filmmaker.
Yeah.
But he was so open about it. And on the set, I was in a vulnerable place because you're opening yourself up to... I'm used to having all the control over my picture edits and every word of dialogue that everyone says, not only me, but all the other characters. And I was going into a situation right away that I was on someone else's floor, which I love doing.
Sure.
But I just trust him so much because of my experience with him. And I didn't realize till I was there that he'd never directed me before. So we were probably in Jordan, and I was like, oh, "You've never directed me before." And he was like, "What?"
How could that be?
He was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." Yeah. And he's really good.
Yeah, he is.
He's
got a future, that guy, huh?
he's got something. But he's fierce. He's fiercely critical, and he and I have the kind of relationship where he knows when I'm bullshitting.
Yeah.
And he can go in there and stop me and make sure that I bring it to an authentic place, and there wasn't a take in that movie. There was one take in the movie I didn't like, and I saw a rough cut of it, and It's the only thing I was like, that was kind of, you know.
Oh, don't be so critical. I mean, you did a fabulous job. You really did. Yeah.
He later called, I didn't tell him, he later called me and he's like, I want to do something different with that line.
Interesting. Okay, so you caught it. So you guys are on the same wavelength. There's no question about it.
It was like having it was like working with a much more experienced, better version
of yourself.
More talented version of me on a set. It's cool.
I don't know about more talented. You guys are pretty equal, I'd say. no, you're with the beard's helping there.
And
like I have to say,
his shock of white hair is also.
The white hair. I'm like, oh my goodness. And have you seen him in Beeba Boys? He's got this man bun that he Deepa put him in, and he plays. Well, I don't want to give it away, but he's hilarious in that. Like not supposed to be hilarious, but he's got the hair up and he's wearing a man bun.
I call him Bob Barker because his hair was black one day and then it was white.
What happened there? Exactly. So, you know, after working on a film like this, obviously, it has to give you a little bit more appreciation for what our troops do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. I always, you know, I do feel like I've always had an appreciation. There's a real sense of loyalty and understanding from Newfoundland with military. We have a long tradition, and there's an insane percentage of Newfoundlanders in the Canadian military. There's just something that we've all kind of feel like we have a part of.
Right.
But at a micro level, to see and to smell, you know, to be viscerally attached to just a tiny fraction of what they might be going through and what's going on in their heads and how they're sacrificing themselves, regardless of all the political stance on it, wherever you sit, they're still going to have to do something I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
If anyone was to come here and do anything, they're standing there on the front lines ready to protect us, and I tell you, that
amazing people.
Yeah, you know, and they're good, solid folk who are doing some seriously good work on our behalf, and I got to see a tiny piece of that of that world, and I got to pretend to be a part of it for a fraction of a second, and very exciting. I'm very grateful. Did
a great job. Are we open to doing another series, or you want to take a rest from that?
We're doing another series now. Take the Shot, our company, is doing a series called Frontier with Discovery Canada and potentially another partner in the States. So
good.
But it's a limited, shorter series, and I'm developing Lisa Moore's book Caught for an adaptation for CBC as potentially short, open-ended, small series.
Good.
But doing show running and starring in a series for 6 years it just happened so fast. I'm immensely grateful. It's the best part I ever played in my life. But yeah,
time to move on.
I had a great summer
with
my dog and my wife, and
that's nice. That's lovely. Well, always lovely to see you, and you know, I know we'll be seeing you tons more of you. But congratulations, you did a fabulous job.
Oh, thanks.